Hey, what's up everybody? TechChucker here, and today we are going to do a review of the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon Wingnut and Screwloose. Now, I walked into my Target a couple of days ago and wound up finding this set. I was so excited to be able to grab this thing, and I was very surprised when I went to check out, and the price was not what I was expecting. I was expecting upwards of 70 bucks. This was only like $59.95. So for the size of these things, already, it's a pretty good value. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and crack these things open and take a closer look. Out of the packaging, and it is pretty obvious which is the star of this pack, and that is Wingnut. This Bat Mutant is just spectacular looking. I think NECA did a great job. I love the paint, the sculpt, all of it looks awesome. I love the blues, the purples of the torso and the legs. The off yellow looks great. All of the panel lining, the nails on his toes, just all of that looks so good. They really did a great job with this face. It's all painted very cleanly. There is a bit of a messiness right here where the lips kind of meet, but beside that, it looks good. What is really the best part about this guy are his wings. I love the fact that we've got his natural wings, which are very small for his body size, and then we've got his mechanical wings that are strapped on here, and they actually look to be strapped. I don't think that they will come off. I'm not going to bother trying to take them off because I would never display them without these wings, because these wings are so good. I love all of the black panel lining on here. There's details that are sculpted in. These little panels are actually sculpted. We've got just so much great stuff going on throughout here. He's got like little thrusters, and it's just such a good look. And then we come over to Screwloose, the mutant mosquito, and he also looks awesome. Now, he's very small compared to Wingnut, but still just has great detail. I love this yellow. It's very vibrant looking. We've got panel lining, not too much panel lining, a little bit on his nose on the top. We've got some green accents, which are awesome. I love the way that his tail looks. His wings are fairly simple, but they look very nice. Love those shoes. NECA just did a great job all around with the way that these guys look. They painted them, sculpted them so well that it really feel as though the value we get from this set just from the sculpt and paint alone is very much up there. We want to see just how tall these guys are, so let's take a look at Wingnut first. And he's coming in to his ears just under 7, but to the top of his mechanical wings, that's probably a little over 7. There's a little bit extra on my ruler that you don't see. And then Screwloose, he's coming in at about just about 4.5 inches, I believe. So a really nice scale difference between the two. Let's do some side-by-side comparisons of some of their other partners. Maybe not partners in crime, but we've got Michelangelo here. We've got a foot soldier to go right behind here. And what else do we got? We've got Dirtbag. We'll throw him in if he'll stand. And Granitor, why not? He's pretty big. He's just, he's about the same height from the tip here to here, which is not too bad. And then let's go ahead and throw in Metalhead and Baxter, another small winged guy. So we've got a bunch of flying guys that if you want to display them flying, that is nice because that gives you more vertical space to work with. And then we'll throw in a Marvel Legends right next to him. I don't have my standard Deadpool, but Prowler's going to stand in for him. So scale-wise, I think these guys are awesome. All right, let's check out their articulation next, starting with Wingnut. He has what I believe to be a bald head or a ball joint in his neck. He can look up only about that far. He can look down about that far. It does appear as though the neck and the head are both articulated, which is kind of nice. He can look side to side decent, but he can't go as far as some of the other figures that we've seen, but he does have some decent, and when I say decent, I mean really good, tilt, at least for that one direction. You gotta kind of twist it that way to get that one to go, but he's got some really nice neck articulation with that tilt, so that is very good. Hit this guy up with some heat, especially in the shoulders and the elbows and the wrists. That is going to make your life that much better. He has ball joints in his shoulders. He can get his arm up about that far. He can swivel them. This shoulder piece is fairly rubbery, so you can get him all the way around, but you're gonna have to kind of twist that a little bit. In the elbows, he's got a joint in the upper elbow, and then he's got double joints in the actual elbows. Those are hinged. Let's see what we can do from this angle. Like I said, heat this up. Oops, his fist came out. Okay, now let's put his fist back in, and he can get about that far. I think it might go a little bit further, but I heated it up, and it obviously has kind of fused a little bit more, and I don't want to break it. He has a swivel, and then he has a hinge in the wrists. Those work really nicely. Down in the torso under his I guess bat boobs. That would be, yeah, it would be bat boobs. He, doesn't have a great range of motion. Just be careful in that torso that you don't break him. He can crunch forward about that far. He can arch back about that far. He's got a big belly there, so he is able to do a little bit of kind of tilting or whatever, and then he can swivel. There is no waist swivel. He does have joints in his hips that are T-jointed, and they go about that far. These are getting a little loose, as is kind of customary for a NECA figure. He can kick forward about that far. Down here, it's kind of soft right there, so you can push it a little bit, so he can kick forward that far. He can kick back about that far. Again, the butt a little bit softer, so you can get back there. Because he is a chunkier figure, the knees are only single jointed, and he can only go about that far. That's not too bad. And then down in the ankles, he's got a hinge, but because of this kind of talon hook thing, he can't really get his ankle back that far. He can get it forward a little bit, not a lot. There we go. That's not too bad. And then he does have an ankle rocker, which works pretty good. We're not done yet. So the wings are on T-jointed, or not T-jointed, they are on ball hinges, and they are ratcheted. So these things will flap, which is pretty cool. And what I really like is I like the cutout. It actually looks like it's been torn out, which is awesome. These will rotate, so a lot of range of motion with these wings, and they don't seem like they're going to get too loose on you. Just beware that they may loosen over time, just because that's the way NECA figures kind of operate. And then last, he's got a ball joint in this tiny, tiny little tail. And you gotta hit this with heat. Mine was pretty well stuck, but there is also a joint, so it can go up and it can go down. I don't know how necessary that was, but hey, it's there. So that got me looking around to see if there was any other secret hidden hinges or anything, and I couldn't really find anything on them. All right, next up we've got Screw Loose, and make sure, again, you hit him with heat, especially in his arms and his neck. So his neck is on a ball joint, and that top part of the ball is pretty small, so you don't want to break it. And it's fairly tight on mine, but he can look up about that far. He can get his chin down about that far. He's got good side-to-side motion. You can probably hear that creaking, but he can do side-to-side really nicely, and then he's got some pretty good tilt, which is also great. In the shoulders, he's got 4 shoulders. Make sure that you are double checking to see exactly where those joints are. They are ball hinges, and they aren't, at least out of the box, all pointing the right direction. So just be careful before you start, cranking on them, that they're pointing the right direction before you start trying to turn them. Otherwise, you're going to wind up breaking them. But they have really nice range of motion on all of these. In the elbows, you've got a single joint hinge, and those will swivel and turn just about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more on all of them, and that is really nice. And then in the wrists, these are fairly small hinges and pegs, so be careful with them, but those all are articulated and working very nicely. Down in the torso, he's got what I believe to be a ball peg. This shirt kind of gets in the way, so he doesn't go too far, but you know, it's there and it does swivel, which is nice because there is no waist swivel. Not really any side-to-side tilt though. Down in the hips, he's got T-jointed ball joints. These actually I don't think are going to get too loose, so that's kind of nice. They will go pretty much all the way to do the splits. He can kick forward a decent amount. He can kick back a really nice amount, which is great. And then they do swivel at the hip. And then down in the knees, he's got a single hinge and it goes almost 90 degrees. It does swivel at the knee as well. And then down at the ankle, he's got a hinge. Can't really get him back that much because of the back pant leg, but he can get him forward a little bit. And then there is also an ankle rocker on both sides. Moving to his back, he has his wings, which are on, they're on pegs with a hinge, and they work fairly nice, but they are fairly small pegs, so just be careful that you're not, you know, being too rough with those. And then the tail appears to just be a peg, so it just swivels. It doesn't have a hinge or anything. This would have been nice if it was just a ball joint, but I bet you it would have popped out quite a bit. So overall, articulation on these two guys is pretty darn solid. And last but not least are the accessories. And I have to say, when I first opened this package, I was kind of overwhelmed thinking, wow, this is just so amazing. These are so cool. This is so big. But the accessories are a little lacking. There's not a lot there. So first thing, Wingnut comes with 2 sets of additional hands, and they're painted, you know, they are painted very nicely. I'm not going to complain about how those are looking. We've got, what do we got? We've got these 2, which look awesome, and then we've got these 2. So that is nothing to complain about. There are no extra hands for Screw Loose, however. So that, you know, in and of itself, a little bit of a bummer, though he does have 4 arms. He has 4 different hands. It would be great to have a couple of fist hands that would go with this, but, you know, for the price, I don't think it's too bad. Wingnut also comes with this very, very big gun. I think we've seen a version of this. I think it came with either the Roadkill set or the other Triceraton set, but I think this one is slightly different. I don't remember that the other one had the come out, or the sight that came out, but the rest of this is pretty similar. But the paint apps on here are very different, and I think they did a very nice job with this, with the paint on these little knobs here and on this. This looks really good, so I'm very pleased with that. But the only other accessory that this comes with is a flight stand, which I assume is going to be for our buddy here, Screw Loose. And this NECA stand, it is fairly, I want to say simple, but it's not really that simple. So this pegs together here. See if I can get this on camera to pop in. It's a nice clear stand. And then we've got the articulating aspect of this being able to go up and down, and same with this one. And then this is kind of a ratcheted system so that you can lift it up a little bit higher. So that is pretty nice. So the part I'm most confused about with this stand is it's got this peg, and I wasn't seeing a peg other than on the feet. So I'm not certain where this pegs in. Now, I was first thinking maybe I pull the tail off. All right, I need to interrupt real quick because as I was cleaning up after recording my review, I discovered that this stand was not as useless as I thought. There is this little piece. It fell out of the box, fell on the floor, and so I didn't realize. So there's a little hook-like thing that will grab onto the figure, and that pegs on. So NECA did just fine. It fell out of my box. So that explains that. And then there is one other accessory that also fell out of my box that I wasn't really aware of, and it is this wanted sign. This I could have lived without. There are some stickers, it looks like. I don't know. I'm not super impressed with this. I don't really care for that. So, all right, that's the interruption. Back to the rest of the review. There you have it, folks. This is your Wingnut Screw Loose set from NECA. I have to say, I'm really pleased with the set. Yes, there are a couple of minor weak points, namely in the accessories, but with that, I am not going to complain because the price point at about 60 bucks, very much worth it. I'm really pleased with this. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think of this set? Did you get it? Did you miss it? They hit Target not too recently, so you should be able to get a set, hopefully. Again, like I said, hit me up in the comments what you think of this set. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, all of that stuff. Share the video out if you're so inclined to do that, and I will see you in the next video.